The letter attorneys for Shanquella Robinson's family just sent to the White House demanding more action over her death in Cabo San Lucas in late October. You remember that she traveled with a group who then returned to the States, and they said that she died from alcohol poisoning, while the medical examiner's office says that she died from a broken neck.
She left for a weekend getaway. Sun, sand, friendship. But just 24 hours later, she was found naked, bruised, and lifeless on a cold tile floor in Mexico. Today, we're diving into one of the most heartbreaking, disturbing, and mysterious cases in recent memory. A case that shook the internet. One that left an entire family shattered, a nation outraged, and the world demanding answers. This is the story of Shanquella Robinson, a bright young woman who flew to paradise with friends and never came home. What happened inside that luxury villa in Cabo San Lucas? Why did the people she trusted turn their backs on her? And why, nearly 2 years later, is no one behind bars? From betrayal and viral video footage, to international investigations and a family's relentless fight for justice, this is the full story. Grab your headphones, take a breath, and stay with us until the very end, because once you hear what really happened, you'll never forget the name Shanquella Robinson. The sun kisses the ocean. A luxury villa awaits. Laughter echoes off the walls of a rented resort home filled with 6 young Americans on vacation. Among them is 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, a vibrant entrepreneur, a successful hairstylist, and a beloved daughter from Charlotte, North Carolina. Known for her fashion brand Exquisite Boutique and her work with children, Shanquella was the kind of soul who brought light into every room she entered. This trip was supposed to be fun, a break, an escape from work. Instead, it became the last chapter of her life. What began as a cheerful group getaway would spiral into one of the most heartbreaking and mysterious stories to capture the internet's attention, marked by a tragic death, a viral video, and more questions than answers. They were known online as the Cabo Six. Shanquella had traveled with a mix of old friends and loose acquaintances. Khalil Cook, her longtime friend, Dejanay Jackson, Winter Donovan, Malik Dyer, Elise Hyatt, and Nazir Wiggins. The luxury villa they rented sat peacefully in the Puerto Los Cabos resort. Ocean views, private pools, the kind of place people dream of. But inside this paradise, a nightmare was unfolding. Only 24 hours after arriving, Shanquella was declared dead. Her friends claimed she had alcohol poisoning. They said a doctor was called, that she wasn't feeling well, that it was sudden, that it was tragic. But within days, cracks began to appear in their stories. Her mother, Salamandra Robinson, received multiple conflicting accounts. One said Shanquella had been found in bed. Another said she collapsed in the living room. A third version mentioned she was found by a maid. The inconsistencies were disturbing. But what no one expected, what shook the entire world, was the video. A few days after Shanquella's death, a video surfaced online. A cell phone recording. Grainy but undeniable. It showed Shanquella, naked, vulnerable, being violently attacked in the villa by one of her so-called friends. The attacker? Dejanay Jackson. The footage captured her throwing punch after punch. Shanquella didn't fight back. In fact, she was heard saying, "No." A male voice, calm, almost casual, was heard in the background. "Quella, can you at least fight back?" But she didn't, or couldn't. There was no intervention. No one stopped the fight. No one helped her. They just stood there and filmed it. And then they left her. According to Mexican police reports, at 2:13 p.m. on October 29th, a local doctor, Dr. Carolina Ornelas Gutierrez, was called to the villa. When she arrived, she found Shanquella alive but not well. She was dehydrated, disoriented, verbally unresponsive. The doctor was told Shanquella had simply drunk too much, but her symptoms didn't quite match alcohol poisoning. Dr. Ornelas wanted her admitted to the hospital. The group refused. They insisted she be treated in the villa. Shortly after, Shanquella began having seizures. Then she stopped breathing. Paramedics arrived, CPR was attempted, adrenaline, defibrillators, 14 rounds of compressions, but by 5:57 p.m., Shanquella Robinson was pronounced dead. And the people she had trusted enough to vacation with packed their bags and vanished back to the United States. They left Cabo without remorse, without explanation, without justice. Back in Charlotte, Shanquella's parents were devastated. Her mother, Salamondra, and father, Bernard, couldn't believe it. Their daughter had left for paradise and never came home. At first, they were told it was alcohol poisoning. But when her body was returned from Mexico, it told a different story. Bruises, swelling, a broken neck, spinal cord injuries. How could that be from drinking? They demanded answers, but the silence from the Cabo Six was deafening. The official autopsy from Mexican authorities listed her cause of death as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. Time of death? 3 p.m. That's nearly 3 full hours before she was declared dead by paramedics. This meant one thing. Shanquella was already gone when help arrived. No mention of alcohol, no mention of poisoning. The lie was beginning to unravel. As the Robinson family mourned, they found themselves trapped in a web of confusion. Each member of the Cabo Six told a different version of what happened.
One said she died in bed. Another said they found her on the floor. Yet another claimed a maid discovered her body. The timelines didn't match, the descriptions didn't match, and none of them made sense. What were they hiding? Research? Her family was not prepared for what they would see. She didn't look peaceful. She looked brutalized. A knot on her head, a bruised face, swollen eyes, a busted lip. Her mother collapsed at the sight. Her father was left speechless. This was no accident. This was an attack. The death certificate, issued in Mexico, revealed chilling details. Time of death, 3 p.m. Cause, severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. Approximate time between injury and death, 15 minutes. There was no mention of alcohol poisoning. The doctor's story, the police report, and the death certificate, none of them aligned. When the video of the assault hit Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, it went viral within hours. Millions of people were outraged. Comments poured in. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag Justice for Shanquella. Hashtag Cabo Six. Hashtag Say Her Name. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone wanted justice. Online sleuths began digging. They identified Dejanay Jackson as the attacker. They found her social media profiles. They matched tattoos, nail colors, hairstyles. Amateur investigators did what authorities failed to do: bring clarity to chaos. The Cabo Six returned to the U.S. like nothing had happened. They deleted social media accounts. They refused to speak publicly. They ignored the Robinson family's desperate pleas. No statements, no apologies, just silence. What were they running from? Dr. Ornelas Gutierrez, the physician who treated Shanquella, claimed she was stable for nearly 3 hours. But the autopsy said she died 15 minutes after injury. How could she be stable if she was already dead? Was the doctor lying? Or was she manipulated by the group? The police noted no signs of external trauma. No bruises, no cuts, no wounds. But her face was swollen. Her neck was broken. Her spine was shattered. Was this just incompetence? Or something darker, like a cover-up? By mid-November, the pressure was too much to ignore. The FBI opened an investigation. They promised a full inquiry. They traveled to Cabo. They collected evidence. But would they get justice in a case that crossed international lines? Mexican authorities reported that a doctor spent nearly 3 hours treating Shanquella in the villa before she died. On November 19, 2022, hundreds gathered at Macedonia Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, to say goodbye to Shanquella. Her white casket shimmered beneath soft church lights. Her parents stood side by side, shattered
yet strong. There were prayers, gospel songs, and tears that wouldn't stop. She was only 25, beautiful, ambitious, gone, and no one had been held responsible. Shanquella's sister, Quilla Long, created a GoFundMe, not just for funeral expenses, but to demand justice. "We want answers," she wrote. "We want accountability." The world responded. Over $400,000 was raised. Even celebrities like Kyrie Irving donated. This wasn't just a family's fight anymore. It had become a global movement. Mexico reopened the case, and this time they gave it a name: femicide. The deliberate killing of a woman because she was a woman. Under Mexican law, femicide carries harsher penalties. Now it was officially a murder investigation, and that changed everything. With both the FBI and Mexican authorities involved, jurisdiction became murky. Would the U.S. extradite a suspect? Would Mexico press charges? Or would politics let justice fade away? Shanquella's mother said it best: "We can't let this go cold." By late November, online investigators had confirmed it. The woman in the video beating Shanquella was Dejanay Jackson. Photos were compared, IDs were matched, but Dejanay vanished. No arrest, no statement, no public appearance. And yet everyone knew. Back home, protests erupted. People marched with signs that read, "We are Shanquella. Arrest the Cabo Six." The community stood with the Robinson family. They demanded transparency. They demanded truth. Charlotte was grieving and furious. Reddit threads, TikTok timelines, YouTube exposés, the internet turned into a courtroom. People combed through the Cabo Six's pasts, old videos, deleted tweets, Instagram stories, anything that could reveal motive or guilt. The court of public opinion was loud. One of the six, Nazir Wiggins, claimed he arrived late, that he wasn't there during the fight, that he tried to help Shanquella. He posted videos defending himself. But critics pointed out he was filmed near Shanquella's lifeless body, laughing, playing music. Was he lying? Or was he afraid? Dr. Ornelas was now under scrutiny. Why didn't she insist on hospitalization? Why did she allow the group to overrule her medical judgment? Was she negligent? Or manipulated? Mexican authorities launched an internal review. Even the doctor was now a suspect. New reports emerged. The Villa concierge had called for medical help before the group ever did. He had sensed something was wrong, that Shanquella was in distress. It wasn't her friends who called for help. It was a stranger. That truth shattered what little defense the Cabo Six had left. The doctor's notes said Shanquella was stable for 3 hours. But the autopsy said she died within 15 minutes. Someone was lying. Someone was covering tracks. And the more people asked questions, the quieter the answers became. The State Department released a vague comment: no clear evidence of foul play. But there was a video. There was a broken neck. There was a family screaming for justice. The public was furious. The Robinsons were devastated. On November 23rd, Mexican authorities issued an arrest warrant for Dejanay Jackson. The charge? Femicide. But the U.S. had yet to act. No arrest, no extradition, just silence. International law is complicated. The crime happened in Mexico. The suspects were in America. Who would prosecute? Would the U.S. honor the extradition request? Would Mexico push hard enough? Meanwhile, Shanquella's family waited. Shanquella's father, Bernard, took to the press. "She was my only daughter, my heart, my world," he said. "She didn't deserve this. She trusted those people." His voice cracked, but his resolve was solid. I'll never stop fighting. Questions unanswered. Why was Shanquella the only one attacked? Was it jealousy? A plan? A sudden explosion of rage? Why didn't anyone stop it? Why did everyone lie? So many questions, so few answers. Weeks passed, then months. Still, no arrests in the U.S. People began to wonder, would justice ever come? Or would this become another cold case? The Robinsons refused to give up. The second autopsy. The family ordered a second autopsy in the U.S. It confirmed what they feared. Shanquella had suffered a violent beating. Her death was not from alcohol. It was from trauma. It was murder. Candlelight vigils, billboard campaigns, memorial murals painted across Charlotte. The city kept her name alive. They rallied behind her family. They turned grief into action, pain into purpose. Political pressure builds. Politicians began speaking up. Letters were sent to the White House. Demands for extradition echoed in Washington. Public pressure grew. Petitions gained hundreds of thousands of signatures. The world was watching. As of now, no one has been convicted. No trial has taken place. But the Robinson family continues to fight. With every breath, every prayer, every protest. They fight for a daughter. They fight for justice. They fight so no one forgets. Shanquella Robinson's life was more than her death. She was an entrepreneur, a dreamer, a daughter, a friend. She built a brand from the ground up. She loved deeply, laughed loudly, and trusted completely. That trust was betrayed. But her story lives on. And until there is justice, the world will not be silent. This isn't just another true crime story. This is a cry for justice. For Shanquella Robinson, a daughter, a sister, a friend, whose life was stolen far too soon. She didn't die from alcohol. She died from betrayal, from violence, and from a system that still hasn't answered her family's pleas for the truth. As of today, no one has been held responsible. No arrests, no justice. But this isn't over. We stand with her family, and we won't stop until the truth is uncovered. If this story moved you, help us keep Shanquella's memory alive. Share her story. Leave a comment below to show your support. And most importantly, stand with her family in their fight for justice. They shouldn't have to fight alone. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell icon. Because here, we uncover the truth, one story at a time.